Hey everybody, Mr. Odom here, and I am going to go over the Chapter 8 practice test answer key. And I'm going to go through it quickly. All right. Use this video to help you on the problems that you did not get right. Look at the work that I did, and then you should try the problems yourself again if you got them wrong. Problem number 1, what's the radius? You see the work that I did there. Problem 2, find the circumference. And you see the work I did there with the formula. Circumference equals 2 times pi times radius. And I also rounded my answer to the nearest tenth. Problem number 3, which value is closest to the perimeter? So for a problem like that, I need to calculate the perimeter. And you see how I did that. The perimeter equals half the circumference of a circle plus the diameter of that semicircle. And you can see my answer is close to 6.43 feet. Find the perimeter of the window, round your answer to the nearest tenth, and you see that my final answer is rounded to the nearest tenth, and you can see the work that I did. Problem number 5, find the perimeter. I just got to add those numbers correctly. If I do, I'll get the right answer. Find the perimeter of this figure. So I need to find the circumference of half the circumference of a circle. And then I just need to add the other 3 sides of that parallelogram. And I do that. And my answer is rounded to the nearest hundredth. Find the area of the circle. Pi times radius squared. Don't use 15 inches. That's not your radius, that's your diameter. Okay, you have to take half of that diameter to get your radius. Don't forget to do that. And I rounded my answer to the nearest hundredth. Number 8, find the area of the circle. So there was an issue. Big Ideas gave this as the answer, and I'll be looking for this on the test because they use the pi button, which I've been telling you don't do that, right? If you don't do that, then this is the answer that you get. Okay, so you guys just don't use the pi button, use 3.14. Okay, and I will make sure I check the answers on the test to make sure that they're done correctly. All right, find the area of the semicircle. So that's half the area of a circle. Okay, and you see I use that formula and I round it to the nearest hundredth. Find the area of this figure. So I need to find the area of the square, right? I need to find the area of the square, which is right there. I need to find the area of the rectangle, which is right there. And I just add them together. Okay, so that's that one. Number 11, find the area of this figure. So for the semicircle, I use that formula. And then for the rectangle, I use this formula. And you can see the work that I did there. The length of the minute hand is 150% the length of the hour hand. So the first thing I do is I find the length of the minute hand. The minute hand is 150% times 30. I change that percent to a decimal, so it's 1.5 times 30. So I know the length of this minute hand is 45 millimeters. All right, in 1 hour, this hand goes all the way around the clock. So I just find the circumference, okay, that the point of the hand travels. All right, so I do that and I get 282.6 millimeters. And then in 1 hour, the hour hand moves from there, it's going to move to here, which is 1/12 the circumference of a circle that the hour hand would travel. Okay, 1/12 of it. So I do the math and I get 15.7 millimeters, and I add those two together up here to get my answer. How much farther does the hour hand travel? So that's a subtraction problem. All right, All right, you're running around the baseball field, okay, at a rate of at least, and you have to pay attention to the words. Yours might say at least or less than or equal to. So that will determine how many of these answers will apply to you. So if you run at a rate of at least 10 feet per second, that means you could run 11 feet per second or 15 feet per second. And if you did, it would take you less time to run around the baseball field. All right. I know 40% of a circle of a radius of 175 feet means I need to find 0.4, which is 40% of the circumference. So I'm going to use this formula to help me figure out what's this distance around the 40%. The rest of it, I already know. 250 plus 250, so I get 500. I plug my numbers in, and this is how many feet I run. And I know in 1 second, I can run 10 feet. So I set up my unit analysis. I see that there's cancellation. So 10 feet per second, I can run around the field in 93.96 seconds. All right. But it says you run at a rate of at least 10 feet, which means you can run faster than 93.96 seconds. Right? So which of these times is less than 93.96 seconds? Well, these two are. Okay. So make sure you read the question carefully, please. Number 14 is the area of a semicircle with radius x. So here's my semicircle with radius x, greater than, less than, or equal to the area of a circle with diameter 2x. So here's my circle with a diameter of 2x, which means my radius is just x. And if I want to calculate the area, I put x into my formula. So area equals pi times x squared. I look at my semicircle. I want to find the area of the semicircle. Well, that's also pi times radius squared divided by 2. The radius is x. So this area is pi times x squared divided by 2. So it's half of this area. Or I can also say it's less than. So less than is the right answer. Okay. Number 15, we've done this one in class. You had it in homework. So I need to find the area of the square, which is the length times the width. And I need to subtract the area of all 4 of these pieces, which make a circle. Each one of these is 1/4 of a circle. So when I put them together, I have one circle. Okay. And so I take 8 times 8 and I subtract the area of the circle. And I end up with the area of the shaded region as 13.76 meters squared because it's rounded to the nearest hundredth. All right, so how do I find the area of this? So for this first part, I know I just have to find the area of this triangle. Base times height divided by 2. Okay. And the base, well, this is a square. So this is 6 meters, which makes this 4 meters. Okay, so I take 4 times 2 divided by 2, and I get 4 meters squared. And then to find the area of this shaded region, I need to take the area of the square, which here's my formula, and I subtract the area of this triangle and the area of this triangle. Okay. And this is the work that I did. And I ended up with 6 meters squared. So to find the area of the shaded region, I need to add these two things together. And so my final answer is 10 meters squared. All right, the tires on the bicycle. We saw a problem like this. All right, so to find the number of rotations, I know I need to find the circumference of my tire. So I do that. Okay. I also change feet into inches. So 500 feet is 6,000 inches. And then I take my 6,000 inches and divide it by my circumference, and that tells me how many rotations. And the 3 dots means that this decimal goes on and on and on. Well, that's about 95 rotations. Okay, I'm not going to round up to 96. I'm going to go down to 95 because I know that I have made 95 rotations. Okay. All right, even though it's a little more than that. So make sure you pick the smaller value. All right, don't round it up to 96 because you haven't gone 96. The tire hasn't gone around 96 times. It's only gone around 95. All right. Number 18, the farmer and the fence. This is another problem. So we found the perimeter by adding everything together. And then I turned that into yards. Why did I do that? Because the fencing costs $31 per yard. I do this unit analysis and I end up with my final answer. That's how much it costs to fence the pasture. Number 19. So this area that I shaded in yellow is this area here. And I need to find that area. And so I need to find 3/4 of the area of a circle with a radius of 15 feet. Okay, so I do that. And I get approximately 530 square feet. And the last problem is the fountain. All right. And the fountain is made up of 2 semicircles. This one and this one, I put them together to make a circle. So I can find the circumference of that circle. My diameter is 10 feet. And so I end up with 31.4 feet. For the other piece, this piece here, that is that piece. So this part of the circumference represents 1/4 of the circumference, or the circumference divided by 4. So circumference equals 2 times pi times radius, because the radius is 10 feet. I do the work and I get the circumference of this piece, and then all I do is add them together. Okay, and I get 47.1 feet. All right, so that's all I have right now. And yeah, hopefully you guys do well on this. Make sure you have those formulas handy. Make sure you know which formula to use, circumference or area. Make sure if you're finding the area of a semicircle, you take half the area. If you find the perimeter of a semicircle, make sure you include the diameter. If you're finding the area or perimeter composite figures, be careful. Make sure you check your work. All right, so that is it. This is Mr. Odom. Good luck on your test, and I am out.